So my name is Jared. I go by Jay, but right now I'm in school to get my PhD in clinical psychology. So that in itself is a very busy schedule, and I provide therapy to several different types of patients, and also provide therapy in a jail setting as well. So it's a lot of revolving doors that's going on. I also have on a weekend, I work as a behavior specialist and I help kids with either autism or ADHD. So it's really a lot of focus on the healthcare, but I really want to make the transition into working in Amazon FBA. And that's something that I have always thought about in the past, but was hesitant to do so. And I would say like the biggest thing I took away is that it was really worth pursuing. It was very fear inducing to say the least. But overall it was an amazing experience. I think like the first thing I saw was your TikTok video, and that was like the first time like, okay, I gave it like a few weeks or so, and then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna reach out. I want to make some changes because I have three sisters and single mother. So my mom is used to the idea of, like, of course, going to school, and that would lead you to having a large amount of money that you're safer in the long run. But so many ongoing issues, whether my sisters are sick, my mother's not feeling well, I had to step up to the plate to really address those type of concerns. And yes, I could wait 2 3 years and I'd be making a good amount of money just for my job. But I want to work on something right now that's personally for myself. And that be later on be able to help others along the way.
That leads me to my next question, which is like, how did you find out about me? Like,
Mhm.
and what gave you the confidence to start working with me rather than like someone else? Like, was there anything that stood out that was different?
So, of course, I mentioned I saw it on TikTok, and instantly I would say that it brought up the idea. Maybe I should try out Amazon FBA again. Like not again, but like let me try it in general, like in my head. Because before, I would say like a year or two ago, in my head I was planning to go with Amazon FBA, but then I decided to just not do it because I was just afraid that things would not succeed in longer term. But when I saw one of your videos talking about the advantages of going to Amazon FBA and taking the risk to do so, that's when I couldn't stop thinking about it. And I have ideology of mine that I usually give myself 2 weeks to make a decision. So after 2 weeks, if I'm still thinking about Amazon FBA, I know I'm going to do it now. So then 2 weeks has passed, and I could not stop thinking about it at all. So then, yep, I have to do it. So I talked to my girlfriend, and from there, we decided absolutely I should 100% go into this type of route.
And how was the learning curve like for you to learn this new business from scratch?
So, of course, starting a new business would be nothing in general is easy to do. So, it's in itself is mentally challenging to do so, but the way you frame the whole each mentorship really guided the process, especially like in the beginning of knowing exactly what to do, whether it's creating an LLC or getting all the certain credit cards or debit cards, things like that in foundation, so that any additional planning afterwards is really step by step. And one thing that was very helpful, and I was really afraid that once everything started, that I would be trying to contact you and there would be no response or things of that nature. But the thing that you were very responsive, like I'll have, like I have so many bad luck, so many issues. I would send you a text, and right away, within a few minutes, you would text back to me. And that was really the life saving moment because those were the times that were very stressful. And I thought about, is this worth continuing? But then seeing you respond right away and have the solution resolved pretty quickly, to say the least, um, was really a really good reminder that this is the business model. But things like this would change over time and will get easier. And this what you mentioned last time in our last session that uh, the beginning part is when most people tend to quit this business. So really trying to not do follow that habit and really continue to push yourself to do better or do more.
Mm, okay. And what was the biggest challenge before working with me? And was I able to help you with it before starting Amazon?
Let me see. My biggest challenge.
Was it just getting started? Was it just lack of information?
I would say like the biggest challenge was like the ungating process. That was the process that was stressful to say the least. But once we had our discussion of ways to ungate or like loop arounds to ungate certain products, that was a really big relief so that I feel more confident where I've run into an issue that says like gated. I know the ways to work around that issue so that I can basically foresee what get ungated in that product. And that could be something that's very profitable. And also like confidence in finding products in general. And there was something I was really worried about. But over time, I started to really, with your help, start to notice the patterns. And it's becomes much easier to identify once you start noticing the similar patterns throughout each profitable item. And of course, each item has its risk, but it's really trying to find the item that has least amount of risk or one of the higher profits.
Okay. Yeah, I remember during our first call you mentioned that was a concern of yours. Like, oh, are you gonna be able to help me find these profitable
Mhm.
products? But then in my head, since I've been doing it for so long, I'm just thinking, man, there's so many out there that you don't even know
Yep.
yet until you see it.
Mhm.
And then now you have so many to look through and to review.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And then we even played like yesterday, placing the orders for all the products. That was such a really good experience. And I think it took me around 2 hours and 30 minutes to place all the orders. And that was such a good sigh of relief that I'm doing, like, even though I spent a good 2 hours and 30 minutes, this was 2 hours and 30 minutes I really enjoyed placing orders of each item that could possibly be very profitable was very exciting to me. And I'm just excited to continue to do so and do the next batch.
And for someone who haven't worked with me before, what can you say was the process of working with me?
Hmm. I would say it was very like easy process to talk to. Like you're someone that's very relatable, funny, and enjoyable to be around. And it's something that's very lacking in especially in business world where individuals just strictly focus on money, but you're more on a human aspect. And it's something that's very valuable in this setting and it helps you in times where things are very stressful and you want to really uh, not really give up, but things are getting tough. You give that additional reminder that this is a process and things will get better over time, which it has.
Perfect. Was there a specific moment in the coaching program where everything clicked for you? Like where you were getting the hang of it, or was the curriculum pretty straightforward?
Okay, so I would say like the curriculum in general was very straightforward. It's the way you formatted and segmented each section or each class was very detailed. And I, in the beginning, I had to write a lot of notes, but over time, I was able to write less and less notes because I started to pick up more of the strategies you were implementing. And I would say everything started to click all together. And of course, once I think it was my spring break, I think it was not spring break, but one of my breaks in school, and I had more time to really focus on the business. And I remember I was in Louisiana doing all the searches, and during that time, I was able to just like search 6 to 8 products each day. And that was really good. And I would just spend anywhere like 1 to 2 hours searching for products. And that's when I realized, okay, this is starting to click because before it would take me 3, 4 hours to just find 2 products. And I'm like, okay, this is such a long process, getting stressed out. But then over time, it becomes much easier that I'm able to identify similar patterns and find profitable products. I'm not gonna say right away, but much faster compared to when I first started.
And did all the different strategies contribute to that?
Yes, absolutely. Different softwares, different comparison usage would absolutely helpful to do so.
And based on what you know now versus what you knew when you first started, would it be safe to say the investment of having me a mentor was worth it?
Absolutely, no question about it.
Perfect.
That's something that, of course, in the beginning it was stressful. I didn't know what to do, but then I put it in this aspect of things. School, I invest into that. That's my education, and that requires, as you already know, a large portion of money to contribute. As I believe right now I owe around 60,000 in debt, so around that towards school. But I knew that yes, taking on this business model is a risk, but it's a risk I'm comfortable with. And I knew that I just had to believe in myself to do so. And that was like the biggest scare for me, but I knew it was gonna be worth it, no question about it. And especially having each of our classes together, uh, it really showed that further. And the way you really helped me learn was advantageous to say the least.
And if someone was interested in starting but they're still on the fence, like what would you tell them about working with me?
Of course. So if someone starting wants to start but is nervous or has anxiety. So I would say that one, of course, I want to say like trust Stefan, like he's someone that you could very much trust. But I know coming from if you're watching this video, I'm a stranger that you don't know me, and I could just be making this up out the blue. But I'm a person who truly values honesty. I'm a person that tells the absolute truth, even if the truth is something that you don't like, because that's something I do in therapy as well. I I am very clear cut in my therapy sessions, and I will tell you pretty much straight outright whether you're doing something that's negative towards yourself and things of that nature. So, in this aspect of things, uh, Stefan is truly someone I trust and has guided me through the process of literally from the beginning to where I'm at right now, which I am very happy so far. And if this is something you really want to pursue, you really have to put a lot of your dedication and effort to do so. This is not something that you start and you put it on the back burner. You have to put a lot of effort and dedication. Complete, not really complete, but to make sure your business model is flowing and really build a life for yourself that's um, different compared to what you usually plan. And this could be more on whether you have more financial freedom, if that's the case, or just in general, not really have to worry about bills in the later stages in life. And this Amazon FBA would really help you get to that process. And it also develops a great amount of skills of being your own person and having autonomy in your schedule so that my schedule in itself, I'm working 6 days a week, only have Fridays off, and I still able to put in that specific amount of time to focus on the business, and I enjoy the business 100%, and that's something I plan to continue to do so going forward. But if this is something that you really want to pursue, and it's something that you understandably is concerned about, life is about taking risks. Are you the person to take the risk, or are you the type of person to wait out and lose out on great opportunities? I remember reading this quote that millions to even billions of dollars are lost each year, and that's with individuals passing away with ideas that they did not pursue. And that's something that is continuously to grow because in this society right now, people tend to be afraid of taking those additional risks to better themselves or better the community. So in this case, if this is something you really want to do and you have anxiety about it, then give yourself some time. Give yourself a week or 2 weeks. If you still think about it, do the same strategy I do. You reach out to Steve.
Yeah. I think when you mentioned that you did think about it for a long time, right? That's something that's really relatable to a lot of people, and I get a lot of
Mhm,
DMs of people doing that and telling me that they've been thinking about it for a long time, but they just never took that next step, you know.
mhm.
And what advice would you give them if they're in the same situation as you were like a month ago or 2 months ago? Um, and they were thinking about it and they kept thinking about it, but then they're
Mhm.
like, okay, let me watch more videos and see.
No, of course. So it's a lot of that that could go on. Like I know there's other individuals who like self-teach and they believe that in general, yes, it is a cheaper route, but in the longer term, it's really not because you're gonna run into so many other variables that's gonna eat into your cost, and you're gonna make a lot of errors that will additionally every a lot of errors that you make will end up costing you more money in the long term. The biggest thing I would mention is that the money saved up. So when you plan to go into this business, it's good to have a solid amount saved up, anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000, and that will be money that, yes, you have to be mentally fit. That in the worst case situation, you could lose this money, but you go into the mindset that you will succeed and you will do your absolute best that this does not happen, or do the best that you're profitable with each purchase. So having that mindset is really helpful. And pulling the trigger is that, are you really going to wait until it's really when life becomes even more difficult than right now? And many times individuals tend to have like a idea or a goal and they said that I'm going to be completed this week, but then they tend to push it back another week, then another 2 weeks, and then a month, and then a whole year goes by and you still haven't pursued that goal. That's when it starts to eat at you mentally, because you start to think to yourself that I could have started this a year ago, but I decided not to. And you try to engage or start to pursue in this adventure or this business, but it becomes even more difficult because as time goes on, your life gets even more busier and you have more responsibilities you have to delegate to. So trying to address it now and starting a business as soon as you can and have the time to do so, then it's advantageous to yourself.
Congratulations on your first sale recently.
Thank you. Yes. Oh my God.
How what advice do you have for people just starting or who haven't had their first sale yet?
Okay.
And
So
how was that feeling for you? Because
that feeling in itself was beyond what I expected. It was something, uh, a big relief towards myself because, like, I sold products on Facebook Marketplace. Like, I sold just random things in my household, but it's a different experience compared to buying something on purpose, on purpose to resell, and that's something was completely it caught me off guard. I was so happy, especially since it happened during our
yeah.
class together. It was such an eye-awakening experience that, wow, this is something that actually works, and here's the exact proof of it that it does work. Was such a great experience because started from the beginning being stressed out to get ungated searching for products. Then the whole printer situation where the viewers don't know the printer didn't work. Then we had to send it out, send it back, get a new one, things of that nature. And then the label is not coming out correctly. Things like that run into situations that might set you back, but in reality, it's just testing you. It's purely just testing you and really building up that confidence that you really have this. And once I was able to send out all the products together, and after waiting a week or so for the products to be registered and seeing my first sale, that was a good accomplishment that we actually got to this point. And now I know, like, literally from beginning to end, how I kind of get the product and then ship it out to Amazon. That's where I really feel really confident about, where I could really just go through like the whole route without reflecting onto my notes.
Okay. And for people who haven't had their first sale, what advice would you give them? Maybe they've been doing it themselves for a long time and they just haven't figured it out.
No, of course. So if it's something that you haven't had a sale yet, one, definitely roll into Stefan's program. I would mention that first off, right off the bat, mostly because Stefan has his own methodology and ideas, and that's really helpful to really have an extra set of eyes onto wherever you're looking at, because as humans out in nature, we are biased to our own perspective. So having an additional person to look and see, okay, I see you're doing this, but I think you could do better by changing this aspect or changing the price on this or things of that nature, or even knowing a better site to get these products from so you can have a lower cost. So having another set of eyes is truly helpful, but also not giving up. That, yes, things does take time to sell, but it will happen over time. And if it doesn't, then you make the additional changes to get that addressed. But it's really not really giving up at all, and definitely reaching out to stuff.